a few laughs and smiles and frowns coming through. If it isn't clear, just say on the comments box and I'll nip indoors. It's not a problem. Anyway, let's get on with some of these subjects that I want to talk about to you today. So, like I say, here I am in Liverpool. I'm actually based in South Liverpool, in the south part of the city, in a little village called Gattaca, which is right next door to Woolton Village, which you may have heard of as Beatles fans. Woolton Village is literally a 5-minute walk from here. I'm sort of like equidistant between the two villages, between Gattaca and Woolton. And of course, big Beatles fans will know Woolton because that is the place where John and Paul first met all those years ago at the Woolton Village Fete, which may ring a bell with some of you. At the Woolton Village Fete, that's where they first met. So that's literally just round the corner. So I'm not from Liverpool originally, of course. You'll be able to tell from my accent. I'm actually from a place called Blackburn in Lancashire, which some of you Beatles fans may have heard of as well. You might recognise that the name of that town, made famous in a Beatles song, of course. No prizes for telling me which one, but you big fans will know the town of Blackburn mentioned in one of the Beatles songs, 4,000 Holes in Blackburn, Lancashire. That's where I'm from. Lived here though for just over 30 years now. And down here in Gattaca. And this is our humble abode, sitting in the back garden today, which, as you can see, needs some renovation. I always use the excuse when people come to visit. I always tell them that I'm just in the middle of decorating. I'm not really, but I just tell people that so they don't think that I'm just living like this all the time. But I just never get round to painting a fence. Actually, that's one thing that I will talk to you about, painting and decorating. How many people have started painting and decorating during this lockdown? Come on, give us some thumbs up. I bet some of you have done that, haven't you? Started painting and decorating. Well, I've always had this philosophy on things like this. And I've always been like this. Rightly or wrongly, you can tell me, put it in the comments what you think. But I've always thought that if you ever want a job doing, get an expert in to do it for you. I've never done any kind of training or I've been on a course or anything like that in terms of painting and decorating. I haven't got a clue about painting and decorating. Obviously, like anybody else, I could pick up a paintbrush and do some painting. But to do it expertly, you'd have to get a man in, wouldn't you? Getting the man that's trained to do the job and do it properly for you. So why would I want to start doing painting of this fence? Get a man in to do it who knows what he's doing and can do a nice job. That's what I'll tell Mrs. T anyway. Yeah, so DIY, I don't get involved with any of that ever. Get the expert in to do it for you. Same as tours as well. That's what I think about tours. You know, people talk to me about doing the tours. Oh, well, we can come and do the tour ourselves. Of course, you can come and do the tour yourself. There's no problem with that. If you can drive and you can find the places. It's not quite the same, though, just doing it yourself, is it? Do you know what I mean? You're better off really getting somebody to show you around and tell you a few stories and things. Makes it more fun, doesn't it? And plus, we have a few little surprises on the Mop Top Tour. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about the tours today. I'm going to talk to you, first of all, about some things that we've been up to the last couple of weeks since we last met up, and some of these questions that have come in. One of our friends, a chap called Dino Vescara, as the name suggests, it's from Italian descent. Dino Vescara. He's a lovely man. And I just made acquaintance with him just quite recently. He's a big Beatles fan. He used to have a Beatles shop where he used to sell Beatles souvenirs and goodies years ago. And I think that's how we sort of like met each other online. And but it's a real personality, is Dino, because yesterday he dropped me a little line yesterday because he was doing this online quiz. and he asked me if I would promote it a little bit for him. So I did. I put a few adverts out. I don't know if any of you managed to get on there to Dino's quiz. It was absolutely fantastic. And I was looking at it back at it this morning, and he was talking for 2.5 hours non-stop on this quiz. You think I can gas? Flipping heck. 2.5 hours he was on. But it was great. It was an 80s quiz and it was really good and I enjoyed it. In fact, me and Mrs. T sat and did the quiz together and we had a bit of fun. We did quite well with it as well, considering it was the 80s. It was quite good. But he also does a specialist Beatles quiz as well. Yes. Now your ears are pricking up, aren't they? And so what I'm going to do is when Dino does his next Beatles quiz, I'll let you know. I'll put it on the Mop Top Tours Facebook page, let you know when it's going to be taking place, and you can come and join in with the Beatles quiz, see how clever you are at your Beatles knowledge. That'll be a bit of fun, won't it? So keep an eye open for that. His name's Dino Vescara. In fact, you might even be able to go and find him on Facebook yourselves. And what I'll do is I'll see if I can put a link on the comments a bit later anyway, so you can go and find Dino's quiz page. Keep an eye on it. Okay. It's a bit of fun. We enjoyed that. But Dino actually sent us some questions through as well and some subjects to talk about, which is really good. So I don't know if Dino's managed to join us now. I know he was quite busy this afternoon with different things, but he'll be able to catch it on the replay, hopefully. But he was asking about different things. He was asking about for me to talk a bit more about Brian Epstein, because he was interested in learning more about Brian Epstein, who, of course, is the Beatles manager, who was born and bred in Liverpool. Yes, indeed. And he was born at the specialist maternity clinic on Rodney Street here in Liverpool's city centre, number 4 Rodney Street. We often go there on our Mop Top tours to Brian Epstein's birthplace. We don't always go there because it's a bit of a tricky road, it's Rodney Street, and it's difficult to park anywhere around there. So we don't always manage to stop off there, but very often we'll go to Brian Epstein's birthplace. But just so you know, if you don't already know, we are actually making a mini documentary about Brian Epstein at the moment. And it's by coincidence an Italian man who's involved with this. A chap called Pino Lo Giudice. Pino Lo Giudice. Oh my gosh, there's loads of comments here that I'm missing. I thought that went down automatically. The Pino Lo Giudice is a great old mate of mine. He's been coming on the Mop Tours for 10 years. This would have been his 10th year. He's heartbroken. He's not been able to get here this year because of this coronavirus. And we've become really good friends with Pino and the family over the past years. This is what happens with a lot of our tour guests, though. People come on the tour, we get to know people, and they become friends for life. It's lovely. It's one of the big bonuses of doing this job. One of many bonuses of doing this as a job. And Pino has made a few films over the years. Pino does all the work on it, really. He's made a few films over the years, which, if you're interested, you can go and watch these on the Mop Top Tours Facebook page. If you click through to the video section, there's a whole host of videos that Pino and I have worked on together over the years. You've got, let me just see if you remember some of them. You've got the Beatles Liverpool Today, which takes you to lots of Beatles locations. So if you haven't been able to get here on a tour, or even if you have, you might want to go and see these places again. There's lots of Beatles. It's like a virtual tour, if you like. The Beatles Liverpool Today. It's in 2 parts, and we actually arranged interviews with some of the locals as well when we made those films. So there might be people on there that you recognise. So they're a bit of fun, those. The Liverpool Today, which is in 2 parts, 1 and 2. We've also made a video, a little short film about George Formby, which many of you will know George Formby. Give us some thumbs up if you know George Formby. Yeah, there's a few. Who else have we got? Oh, Dino has joined us. Hello, Dino. Thanks for joining us. I hope you're still there. I was just talking about your quiz, and Antonio Chilla's joined us as well from Italy. We have a lot of Italians on today. Do you believe Mona Best and the Casbah offers enough credit for the part in the Beatles history? I'll answer that question definitely. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, I'm just telling you about these films. George Formby. The Beatles were big fans of George Formby. He was a very big star in this country in the 1940s. In fact, he was the biggest paid star in the country. Massive, massive star he was in this country, George Formby. He was a ukulele player, first and most, I think, but he was also the actor. He made quite a few films, and we made a little documentary about George Formby. That's quite a short one. It's about 15 minutes long, that one, but it's quite an interesting little story. And what else? Oh yeah, we did our two bigger films that we made. One of them was about Rory Storm and the Hurricanes, which was on the list that Dino sent. Can we learn more about Rory Storm? Oh no, it wasn't. Sorry, that was Jörg Breedveld from Germany who asked us that. Can we learn more about Rory Storm and the Hurricanes? Yes, go and check out the video. We've made a lovely film uh, about Rory Storm and the Hurricanes, and you can find that on the Facebook page as well. And also one called The Unsung Heroes of Merseybeat. Okay, and this tells you about lots of the stars that didn't get famous in Liverpool, because there was loads of groups in Liverpool as well as the Beatles in the 1960s during the Merseybeat era. And this tells you we don't talk about every group because you'd have to do a very long film to cover every group, but we've just chosen a handful of the groups from the 1960s, the Unsung Heroes of Merseybeat. And those two films, the Rory Storm film and the Unsung Heroes of Merseybeat, are both based on a book which were written, or books that were written by Anthony Hogan. Ant Hogan. He's a lovely fella. He's one of the Mop Top Tour guides. And he's written these two fabulous books. You can get them on Amazon if you look them up. I might even put a couple of links on for those later as well. Okay, so there's loads of things that you can go and check out there. But this, our latest film that we're working on at the moment is about the Brian Epstein story. And we've completed more or less the script editing on that now. And I actually started doing the voiceover for this last week, the narration for the film. But I got a really bad chest and I could hardly blink and breathe. I thought I had coronavirus at first. I hadn't. I just got a bit of a cold, and but I had a really bad chest. I could hardly breathe when I was doing it. You could hear me breathing like. So I thought I'll wait for a little bit till I feel a bit better. So yeah, thanks for all your sympathy, guys. But no, we'll get back onto that anyway, and hopefully we'll have that film produced for later on this year. Right, who else have we got? Let's just say a few hellos. 21 comments. Oh my word, I've missed all these. Sorry, guys. Pino Lo Giudice is on board. A Day in the Life is the correct answer to that song we were talking about earlier with Blackburn, Lancashire. Do you believe My Best and the Casbah Club gets enough credit for their part in the Beatles' history? Generally speaking, I don't think they do. Come on the Mop Top Tour All Day Extravaganza, and you'll find that yes, they do, because that's a big part of the Extravaganza tour. Because we actually go to the Casbah Coffee Club, and we go inside there, and you normally will meet up with Kenny, young Kenny, who actually lives at the Casbah, and he will take you through the Casbah Coffee Club story and tell you all about the Casbah. It's really, really good. It lasts about an hour, and that's part of the afternoon tour on the all-day extravaganza tour. So it's good. I've just noticed you're not on my Facebook, so I have added you. Oh, thanks. That was Susan Gary. Hello, Susan. Thanks very much for adding me on your Facebook. Susan Gary is with us today, ladies and gentlemen, which is quite a treat for us today. If you don't know Susan Gary, she is the wife the devoted wife of Len Gary, the tea chest bass player in the Quarrymen, no less. The man who replaced Bill. He doesn't play the tea chest bass now, though, very much. He's more on like the guitar now. He plays guitar and sings. So we've got Susan Gary on board. So thanks very much for joining us this afternoon, Suze. It's lovely to have your company. Right, let's have a little look. Yeah, so hopefully that answers your question about the Casbah Club. If you don't know what the Casbah Club is, because there might be people on here that don't even know what we're talking about, the Casbah Club is really the true birthplace of the Beatles. It's based on the outskirts of Liverpool in a little village called West Derby. Beautiful little village, West Derby. One of the oldest villages in this whole region round here. Goes back to the Doomsday Book of 1086. It's a place to have a little look round, West Derby. But that's the home of the Casbah Coffee Club, the true birthplace of the Beatles. And if you ever get to Liverpool and you want to come on the all-day extravaganza tour, you'll be going to the Casbah Club as part of that. You will love it. I do not believe it. Here's a blast from the past. Oh, hang on a minute. We've got Dino is on board. Hi, Stevie T. Good to see you. From Dino in sunny Milton Keynes, which a place I do know well because I used to go there quite a lot in a previous life. You were great on my quiz last night. I know. And a Beatles quiz is coming this weekend. So there we go. We've got a Beatles quiz coming up this weekend on Dino's quiz page. I've got to hold my hands up, Dino. I actually worked as a disc jockey throughout the 1980s. So I wasn't as good as what I should have been, really. A bit of a cheat when you've worked as a disc jockey for quite a few years. But I don't know. I can't remember half these things these days. Must be at that age. And we've got Ekim Yelkub. I haven't seen. He's an old friend of mine. Hello, Mike. I hope you're still with us. Give us some thumbs up if you're still with us, Mike. And it shouldn't be this hard. There he is. Nice to see you, Mike. Thanks for joining us today. Great to see you. Oh, gosh. That's from another life as well when I used to work with Mike, a lovely man. And we've got a few conversations going on between you on here as well. Leave that out, will you? Jamie. Can't shut him up. Okay, yes, I'm painting now and listening to you. See, blokes can multitask. Thanks, Guy. You could practice on the fence. Okay, that's going back to a conversation from earlier on. Women can paint as well. Yeah, Mrs. T is the expert painter, but I've told her not to do it whilst this lockdown's on because they've said not to do DIY in case you have an accident and have to take up the time of the NHS. That's my excuse anyway. And we've got Bjorn Warnes on as well. Hello, Bjorn. I hope you're still with us. Give us a little thumbs up if you're still with us. I didn't realise yet I had to press this. I thought it came up automatically to see these messages. So knowing you need an expert. Yes, you need an expert. Paul did sound congested Sunday night. Hope he's okay. I never got round to listening to that, unfortunately. I'll have to see if I can catch up. But he sounded congested. Yeah, don't know if he's at his best now for singing, but anyway, I went to see him when he came to Liverpool. And what year was that now? Where are we now? About 2016 was he here? It was the Out There tour, whatever year that was. Out There. Time flies, doesn't it? But he was fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic. He played for like 3 hours. He never even stopped for a drink, in 3 hours. He was incredible. And people then were saying he wasn't like as good as what he used to be. But I thought he was. But he was brilliant. Right, let's say a few hellos. We've got Denise Drago Bowl. Hi from New Jersey, USA. Greetings. Peace and love from Liverpool. There's any about Paul's breathing. I'm very worried. He might just have a bit of a cold like I did last week, Lorraine. Let's hope so. A lot of colds going round over here. People panic though, don't they, with having this coronavirus? You get a little bit of a cough and you go, oh, but it's just a little bit of a cold. Soon passes. Great. This is from Bjorn. Great, our friend, sitting out in bright blue sky, listening to Steve. Yeah, well, it's a beautiful day here as well in Liverpool, as you can see. The sun is out, the sky is blue. The sun is out, and so are the bells. God, it's noisy around here. Does anyone hear anything on Dino Safari? He was a photographer for John and Yoko for a while. Does anyone hear anything on Dino Safari? I've never heard of him, but like I said, I don't know everything. Special hi to Pino from Jenny. She's over in Australia, in Geelong. So hi to Jenny. Richie Taff has joined. Nice to see you, Richie. Hope you're still with us. Give us a little thumbs up if you're still with us. Richie's up in Sheffield, a regular Mop Top Tour guest and a good old pal of ours. Sarah D.L. Fisher, we are friends through Facebook. Can't wait to actually get there and meet up. Well, I hope you do manage to get over, Sarah. I love Pino's work from your page. Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you very much for that. Pino does a great job, honestly. He does fantastic work on these videos, and we love them. I think they're really capturing a piece of Liverpool history, today. We'll look back on these in years to come, and they'll be like real nuggets of things to look back on. And we're having a great time making these videos. We have a lot of fun doing them. I'll tell you another little video that he made. You'll enjoy this if you get a chance at it. If I make a point and go and have a look at it, I'll just tell you the little story because I was talking about Woolton earlier on, wasn't I? And we had the 60-year anniversary of when John and Paul first met. They first met in the July of 1957, and in 2017 there was a massive event that went on in Woolton, just up the road from here, as a celebration of 60 years, and it was fantastic. They put on this, they did a parade through Woolton Village, just like they'd done 60 years before, and the quarrymen were on the back of this little wagon, just like done on that day. So they were driving around the village on the back of this wagon, and then they stopped off at the Woolton Village by St Peter's Church, where the Woolton Village Fete took place, and they put a show on there, and there was all stalls set up all around the place, and the Salvation Army were there, the people from Strawberry Field. They were doing fundraising then for the opening of the new centre that's open now, and it was really good. And I was actually out with a couple of friends that day. Bill Smith, who's the original tea-chest player in the Quarrymen. He's the sole surviving founder member of the Quarrymen, Bill Smith. So Bill and I went up with another one of our friends called Pete Aspinall, who's a local musician. And we went up to the Woolton Village Fete that afternoon, and we had a really great time. And I was just doing some little Periscope broadcasts as I was walking around, some live broadcasts. And Pino edited them all and put them together into this little mini documentary. So if you want to go and have a look at that, that's also in the video section on the Mop Top Tours page. It's the day John met Paul 50 years on, or 60 years on. So go and check that out. It's a nice little film that you'll see you can feel the atmosphere from that film of how much fun it was on the day. Right, Ian Conahan, my cousin who's up in Newcastle. Hi to Ian. If you're still there, give us a thumbs up. Lovely to have you on board this afternoon. My old mate Ian. He's from Blackburn originally, but lives in Newcastle now. Newcastle, UK, up in the northeast. Sarah, dear, who is George? Who is George? I don't know what that means. Charles Stevie T. Yeah, that's Dino and Beyond Jamie. When I'm cleaning windows. Oh yeah, that's talking about George Formby from earlier on. I think Paul was just emotional when he sang for the BHS. Thinking of his mum, maybe. Oh, flipping it. I tell you, look at that. I've just got goosebumps reading that, Maeve. Flipping heck, that could be it, This is Maeve who's just put on. I think Paul was just emotional when he sang for the The NHS, not BHS. That's British Home Stores, you loon. The NHS. Thinking of his mum, because of course his mother Mary worked as a district nurse and midwife. She worked for the NHS. Thinking about her, yeah, that could well have been it. Getting quite moved with the whole experience. NHS. All right, you've changed it to NHS, I see. Um, Tom Lucas, Alan Caldwell with a question mark. Yes, 10 points for that. I wish I had my little ding ding with me. But Alan Caldwell, yeah, otherwise known as Rory Storm. Cheers. Um, yeah, so if you want to learn more about Rory Storm and the hurricane, go and check out the little mini documentary that we made. It was really good. In fact, that little mini documentary we made about Alan Caldwell, aka Rory Storm, we had a lot of help with that as well, which we really appreciated from Rory's younger sister, Iris Caldwell, and she'd been in contact with Ant whilst he was writing his book, and they'd give him all kinds of exclusive photographs of Rory Storm and the Hurricanes. And of course, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but Ringo Starr was the drummer with Rory Storm and the Hurricanes before he joined the Beatles. There's loads of Ringo pictures in there, and an Ant's book. It's really good if you get a chance to get it off Amazon. His name was Rory. The music was his story. That's the title of the book, and it's well worth picking up if you can get your hands on it. And but in between times, have a look at the film because lots of those exclusive photographs featured in the film as well. And Iris loved that film. She gave us the big thumb up on that. She really enjoyed it. So we were chuffed to bits with the outcome with that. Right, let's have a look. I'm just whizzing through all these. Who is Rory's? Oh, there's Ant now. Ant's on board. So nice to see you, Anthony. Anthony, put a little link on there, if you like, for your books so people can see. Anthony Hogan, the Mop Top Tour guide and author, is watching now, and there's a few little smiles and things. So put a link on there, Ant. So if anybody wants to go and find your book, so they can go and check them out. Yeah. Oh, this is something I'm going to have to just mention as well. Just going off the subject of the Beatles and things. Excuse me, I see I'm still a bit coffee. Weekend, my son-in-law Jamie put on a charity event. It was a charity bingo night, and it was a fundraiser for Crohn's disease, which is very close to, and he organised his charity bingo night. It was absolutely brilliant, honestly. It was like having a night out. It was fantastic. Loads of people came together to play bingo. As a special treat, we also had some live music on that night in the form of Pino, who I've just been telling you about, and his two sons, Demetrio and Claudio, the La Giudices. Getting quite good at these pronunciations. They are my ciliegines. That means my cherry blossoms in Italian. And the lovely guys. And they did a great job doing this live music. There was another fella whose name escapes me who did a little quiz as well, which was really good. And then Jamie and my daughter Emma were doing the bingo between them. Well, what a great job they did. And they raised over £350. So how good is that? We've got another one of those charity bingo nights coming up very soon. So Jamie, if you're still watching, put it on for that as well. So anybody that's watching that fancies joining us for a game of bingo, I guarantee you'll have a great night with this. It was like having a night out, the atmosphere we had. And you should have seen it at the end of it. It was fantastic. Demetrio playing on the piano Bohemian Rhapsody. It was fantastic. And everyone's doing a virtual sing-along. And thumbs ups and hearts going everywhere. I'm not getting many thumbs ups and hearts on this today, but anyway. Are you still there, everyone? Oh, thanks, Sarah. At least there's one person giving us a little thumbs up. This is Guy talking again. I did the Casbah tour with Kenny 18 months ago. Also met Rogue. Brilliant. He's a lovely fella. Rogue Best, of course, is Pete Best's younger half-brother, who is the son of Neil Aspinall. It's a little bit complicated. Uh, Actually, Dino's asked us to a little bit about Neil Aspinall. So I'll just say a little bit about now that Guy's just mentioned it. What had actually happened was the Beatles were playing at the Casbah Club. They were doing a great shows there. And Mona was really helping the Beatles back in those days. She was organising everything for them. She organised a van for them to drive them around. She was organising getting instruments for them, amps and microphones and stands, all this type of thing. And she was running the book for them, sorting out all the bookings. So she did a really big job for the Beatles. And she does kind of get out of the Beatles story a bit, because a lot of people just think about Brian Epstein as being like the manager, but there was lots of people involved in the in the lead up to Brian taking over, and Mona was one of them. And like I say, she organised the van for them. And the roadie that was driving for the Beatles, one of their friends, was this lad called Neil Aspinall. And Mona took a shining to Neil, and they struck up a relationship. And Rogue was the result of that relationship. So Rogue is Pete Best's younger half brother. Okay, I know that's a bit complicated, but that's basically what it was. But sadly, Neil passed away a few years ago. But he was a mad collector of things. He was a hoarder, Neil Aspinall, and he wouldn't throw anything out. And even from the very early days of the Beatles, he would collect everything. What might be seen as rubbish, where the Beatles would throw out, he wouldn't throw anything out, Neil. He would just collect everything, which has ended up now as the biggest collection of Beatles memorabilia in the world, which is now in the hands of Rogue Best, who has now opened a museum in Liverpool on Matthew Street called the Magical History Museum, which covers 3 floors of Beatles memorabilia that's been collected by Neil over those years. How cool is that? That must get a few thumbs up. So if you're in Liverpool, that's a really cool place to go and check out. The Magical History Museum on Matthew Street, owned by Rogue Best, and it's full of Beatles memorabilia, stuff that you'll have never ever seen before. It's a fascinating place to visit. It really is. And Dino was asking about Pete Best as well. Well, Pete Best, of course, he was the original drummer with the Beatles, doing really well. He's up there. We bumped into Pete on occasion. Touch very lucky. You sometimes bump into him when you're out on the tour, but you've got to touch very lucky for that. But stranger things have happened. Then we've been out on the Mop Top Tour and bumped into Mr. Pete Best, who's always got plenty of time for people and for photographs and autographs. And he's a lovely man, he really is. And he was supposed to be going back out on tour this year, because he'd had last year off. He'd sort of like had a bit of a break, and he launched his acting career because he appeared in theatre in a play called Lennon's Banjo, and that was on at the Epstein Theatre. And so he had his acting career. He only appeared on a couple of occasions on that, so even that was a treat. But he was basically off for the year. But then he was supposed to be going back out on tour this year. But of course, with all this lava that's gone on, he has been abandoned now. So maybe next year you'll be able to get to see him if he decides to go out on tour. You've got to bear in mind, though, all these fellas, they're getting on a bit now. They're all like pushing 80 years of age. In fact, Bill is 80 years of age this year. Let's see if we can organise a bit of a party for Bill. Right, I wish I thought of your excuse when Mrs. G gave me all these DIY jobs to do. That's Guy Griffiths. Guy, it's a great way to get out of it. It's not just a great way to get out of it. I've always been a firm believer of that. If someone's gone and trained to do a job, that's what makes the world go round, isn't it? You've got to engage these people to come and do the job. If everybody just did it themselves, what would happen? It's the end of industry, isn't it, as we know it? What? Oh, this is Dino. What is the latest with the Brian Epstein statue? Was a place agreed where it will be erected? I don't even know if that has even come to fruition, that Epstein statue. I'm sorry, Dino, I'm not sure on that one. Somebody might be able to advise us on that, but I don't know if they even managed to get the funds together for that. That was the last thing I heard about it. They were trying to do fundraising to get the Brian Epstein statue, and they were talking about putting it down by the pier head where the new Beatles statues are at the pier head. But whether or not it actually came, I do remember seeing like a little miniature version of that, like what they call it. I can't think of the word, but it was like the model of it, if you like, what it was going to be based on. Maeve Atherton, you're bringing us all together, Steve. Oh, well, that's lovely of you, Maeve. Thanks very much. I'm glad you feel, if you've got that feeling that you're coming together, that's what I wanted. That's all I wanted from this, really. If you're feeling a bit fed up sitting at home on your own, come on, have a little look at me for half an hour or so. You answered the joy question. Hoping Norma Hanley joins us today. Okay. I think Paul was emotional. How could he not be? Yeah, I think you're right there, Sarah. Dino, any news on Beatles Week yet? I always have a stall on Convention Day at the Adelphi selling books and memorabilia. I've just been talking about that. No, actually, funny enough, about your little shop that you used to have. I say a little shop. Your shop that you used to have selling Beatles stuff. We haven't had any news on Beatles Week yet. That's not until the end of August, of course. So things can change between now and then. Fingers crossed that by then all this is going to be over and done with, and we'll be back to normal. We've still got lots of bookings in the book for August. We've had loads of cancellations between now and then. We've refunded pretty much everybody now for tours that were booked for the summer. So the good news is nobody's missed out. If they booked a Mop Top Tour, everyone has either been given a full refund if they've asked for it, or we've asked for vouchers, which we've given them vouchers which they can use at some point in the future. So we're really pleased we managed to cover everybody and nobody missed out financially if they'd already booked a tour with us. But as far as we know, everything's going ahead for Beatles Week. We're keeping our fingers crossed anyway. His sister dated George and Paul in the early days. Right, that's talking about Alan Caldwell. He did indeed. He did. His sister dated George and Paul. She did. Yeah, what I meant to say. And she eventually married a chap called Shane Fenton. God, the name went out of my head. Shane Fenton, who later became Alvin Stardust. Do you know him? I don't know if Alvin Stardust got famous over in the United States. You need to look him up because he was really good rock and roll star. Very big star in Liverpool. Made many matches at the Cavern Club. Did Alvin Star? Alvin Star? Alvin Stardust. Big hits. Always used to wear black gloves. You, I just want you. I really love the things that you do. Anyway, look him up on YouTube. Alvin Stardust. Big star of the 70s. In fact, he had a hit. His most recent, I think, was in the early 1980s, and it was an old song called Pretend, which was originally a hit, I think, in the 50s by Nat King Cole. Do you know that one? Pretend you're happy when you're blue. It isn't very hard to do. Right, From the Storm to a Hurricane is the name of the book. Yeah, From a Storm to a Hurricane is the name of Ant's book. Sorry, Ant, I got the wrong the name. You know what I'm getting like these days, though? I'm forgetting stuff. Storm to a Hurricane is the name of the book, and Ant's put some links on there if you want to go and get the books. From a Storm to a Hurricane and the Unsung Heroes of Mersey Beat. You won't be sorry if you order those. You'll have a bit of fun reading those. Claudio was on piano. Did I say Demetrio's on piano? See, this is what I'm like these days. Sorry, it was Claudio on the piano at the bingo night. Jamie, how you run? It's on the 3rd May. Right, this is Jamie talking about his bingo night. It's on the 3rd of May at 6:30 p.m. BST. Facebook group can be found on my profile. Thanks everyone and Stevie for the support. Yeah, so yeah, go and check out Jamie's bingo game. I'll tell you what, it'd be really good fun to see you all there. What a great night we had. It was really good fun. I don't know, like people overseas, how we would get on like sending the prizes to you though. He's been out delivering the prizes today to local people, but I don't know. I don't. You have to about that, Jamie. People from overseas, hoping to raise £700 on this next one. Dino Vescara has also put a link on to Dino's pranks. That'll take you through to Dino's quiz page, which you're gonna love. That it was. We had a great time with that last night. I don't know. You kept on talking for 2.5 hours. Flipping heck! People think I can blink in gas, but that was brilliant. So go and check it out. Dino Vescara's Facebook page, Dino's Pranks, because they've got the Beatles quiz coming up very soon. So that'll be fun that to go and see you on there. Jörg Breedveld from Germany. Hello, Jörg. You send us some thumbs up if you're still there. Nice to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing okay. I've been trying to cover some of your questions that you've sent through, which we've touched upon. In fact, I'll go on to these actually now because Jörg has asked a couple of things. Are you still with us, Jörg? Send us some thumbs up if you're still there. May have. I think he's working today, so he may be able to catch it up on get it on the catch up. Because Jörg was actually asking about Rory Storm and the Hurricanes, Jerry and the Pacemakers, and Billy J. Kramer and the Colters, and other Mersey beat groups. And his question was, what was the relationship like between those groups and the Beatles back in the 60s? And what are those relationships like now? How do they feel about those groups now? Well, how people feel about people, I can't really comment on that because in reality, how could I realistically tell you? Only from what I know personally. Billy J. Kramer, I speak without name dropping. I speak to Billy J on a regular basis. He lives over in New York now. But Billy J. Kramer, if you don't know Billy J. Kramer, by the way, he was a big star of the 60s. He was amongst the Brian Epstein stable of groups. He had a number of hits. One of them was Do You Want to Know a Secret? Of course, which was written by John. He had a song called Little Children. And the other one, which was a big hit, just escapes me for the moment. Come back to me. Anyway, they had a string of hits, did Billy J. Kramer. Come on, somebody help me what it was, that other one. Somebody will know. What's the song? Little children. Do, 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 do. I can't think what the other one was. But anyway, I speak to Billy J quite a lot. And he sent me a photograph actually a while back. In fact, you can see this in the thumbs up picture album on our Facebook page. I've put it in there just recently. If you go to the thumbs up album on our Facebook page, you'll find this photograph that Billy J sent to me, and it shows Billy back in the 60s sitting with the boys having a photograph taken, and you can see the joy in his face. In fact, all the faces, they absolutely loved each other, those fellas. And Billy J, whenever I speak to him, he contacts me regularly, does Billy J. He just writes to us and says, how's it going over there? How's the tours going and everything? He has a lot of interest in what goes on. And he has a real fondness of when he used to play alongside the Beatles and working with Brian Epstein. In fact, Jay's just released an album quite recently as well, and one of the songs on that album is all about Brian Epstein. What about that, eh? It shows you how much of a fondness he had. Jerry Marsden of Jerry and the Pacemakers. I think he had a real fondness of them back in the day. I met Jerry a couple of years ago when we were filming for a TV documentary called The Hotel Inspector. The Hotel Inspector. Don't know if any of you've seen that. Send me some thumbs up if you have. Anyway, it's Alex Polizzi who's in that program, and Alex goes round hotels, checking out hotels, and trying to help them get back on the straight and narrow if they're struggling a little bit. And this particular hotel that this documentary was filming at was the Brian Epstein guest house, which belonged to the grandparents of Brian Epstein once upon a time, and it's now been converted into a guest house. And Alex Polizzi was at the Brian Epstein guest house helping them to get it running. In fact, if you want to see a clip of this, you can find that on our video section. There's a little section of it where they did an interview with me, but you can see lots of other things going on that little clip as well. So you can go and have a look at that in the video section. But whilst we were filming that, I got to meet Jerry. Jerry ended up in the documentary in the end, but I did get to meet him and had a good chat with him, and you could tell he had a real fondness of the Beatles, the way that he'd spoke about them when we met up. So yeah, lovely man. You've been in the song too long with that singing. Yes, I was supposed to be seeing Paul McCartney in Leland, Paris next month, but that won't be happening. Oh, so sorry about that, Dino. I'm gutted as the last time I saw Paul live outside the UK was May 11th at the Coliseum in Rome. You get around, don't you, Dino? But that's very nice. But I'm very sorry about that, though. It's awful for people this year having to cancel their holiday plans. Norma Handley is a fellow Aussie who has been with us since the early Beatles Liverpool tour days. Her granddaughters are the Pepperettes, I know. They have been on the Mop Top Tour. They were totally mop-topalicious with the Handleys. Had a fantastic time. Nice thumbs up from York. Jamie can deliver to Oz. Will only take a 24-hour flight. Okay. Bad to Me. Thanks, Dino. That was the song I couldn't think of before by what was his name now? No, I'm only kidding. Billy J. Kramer and the Dakotas. So it was, do you want to know a secret? Little Children and Bad to Me. Okay. Thanks, Dino. Actually, Dino, if you ever do manage to come on the tour, as we're going round, you'll be able to remind me of everything that I forgot. The J in Billy J was supposed to be suggested by John Lennon, possibly Julia. Yeah, possibly, yeah. I do. That does ring a bell, though. That was suggested to the Billy J to make him sound more rock and roll. Billy J's backing band was the Dakotas, and in 1973, John moved into the Dakota. Yeah. Another amazing coincidence. Right. Are we doing time-wise now? Oh, there we go. 53. Oh, well, I'm going to get off very shortly. I'm just going to finish off this. Unless anyone's got any more questions, if you have, or any subjects you want to talk about. I think we've covered quite a lot there today. We're down to 11 people now, so people are getting bored with me. We've covered all that. Jamie's bingo night, and I think that covers everything there. Somebody asking about Stu Sutcliffe. In fact, this was a couple of people have asked about Stu Sutcliffe. We haven't done an awful lot on Sutcliffe. We do a little bit when we do the tour. We're obviously Stuart formed part of the early Beatles story. If you're not aware of Stuart, he sadly passed away very young age, just 21, whilst the boys were playing in Hamburg. And his body was transferred back to Liverpool, and he's buried on the outskirts of Liverpool in a place called Huyton, which isn't a normal place that we're on the Mop Top Tour, but we sometimes go there on a more extended tour. If anyone's got a special request to go to Stuart Sutcliffe's final resting place, we'll go out there. A couple of years ago, I did go to his birthplace, which is in Edinburgh. And that was quite a fascinating little thing. In fact, I'll just tell you the quick story on that because I was in Edinburgh on holiday. We were on our way up to the Highlands because it's like an 8 hour drive to the Highlands from here. We stopped off at Edinburgh halfway and we had a couple of nights there and we did lots of sightseeing. And I said to Mrs. T, I said, would you like to go and see if we can find Stuart Sutcliffe's birthplace? And of course, she wasn't that bothered because she's not really interested in the Beatles or anything. But she goes along with me, you know. So I had the address and I went and did a bit of exploring. And eventually, after a lot of driving about, managed to find Stuart Sutcliffe's birthplace. And I did a live video feed from there, which you're able to find on our Facebook page. If you go through to the video section again, you'll be able to have a look at Stuart Sutcliffe's birthplace on there. And whilst I was doing that, Pino calls me, he sent me a text or a message. He said, you're very close there to where childhood home was. And I managed to find the road that he was born on, although the houses there have all been demolished now. And but Pino had told me he'd give me a description of what the house looked like from Pauline Sutcliffe's book, that's Stuart's sister, and he'd given me this description of what the house looked like. But the road where he used to live has been demolished, but the parallel roads that go along next to him, the description of the houses were exactly what those looked like. So I got a real picture of where Stuart would have been brought up in those on his obviously very early days when he lived in Edinburgh. So it's worth, if you ever get to Edinburgh, it's worth having a look round there, and you really get the feel of Stuart there. It was quite extraordinary for me to go and see that. But if you want to go and have a look at his birthplace, there's a little video there that you'll be able to find on the Mop Top Tour. You've got loads of videos you can go and watch. If you're a bit bored sitting and twiddling your thumbs, there's loads of video stuff there you can go and have a look at, and hours of entertainment. Anyway, I'm going to make a move now. So thanks very much for joining us this afternoon. It's been lovely to have your company. Thanks for all your questions and your subjects that you've sent. And I hope you've enjoyed all that. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up. I really appreciate that. So I hope you've enjoyed the ramblings today. Thanks everybody from around the world. We've had people literally from every corner, especially those people over in Australia. That will be about midnight there now. So thanks very much for joining us from Australia, Milton Keynes, from Obdorf in Germany, Widnes, from Crosby. And lots of people that live in Liverpool have come and joined us. People from who've been with us today as well, thanks to the people from Bolton and Rochdale and those areas. We've had people from all over the place. So thanks very, very much for joining us. And do take this really awkward and difficult time. I do hope you can keep yourself safe. Stay at home, stay safe, save lives, save the NHS in this country. Really do take care of yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you on the other side of all this mess and be able to say those immortal words. Welcome to Liverpool. Can't wait to see you guys. Peace and love, and see you next time. Bye for now.